Over the past century, food production has moved from farming and small-scale livestock to a much larger industrialized scale. Food production companies have become some of the most profitable companies in the world, with millions invested in the food we eat every day. With so much money invested in food, these companies need to protect their products. That's where pesticide and food preservatives come into play. The use of these chemicals is known, but their effect on humans is still up for debate. Many believe that the chemicals that our food is exposed to can hurt us in extremely damaging ways. Nearly all the produce we consume is at one time in their lives exposed to pesticides, either in the field or during packaging. Some studies have linked the use of common pesticides such as methyl bromide, captan, and organochlorines to the development of prostate cancer. Other studies have shown that parental exposure to pesticides before the child's conception, during gestation, or after its birth increases the risk of early onset cancer. Penn State University conducted a study about pesticides and their effect on humans. The study looked at what kinds of pesticides were used and how each of these pesticides affected human health. The final conclusion from the study was, quote, "For all pesticides to be effective against the pests they are intended to control, they must be biologically active or toxic. They are also potentially hazardous to humans, animals, and other organisms and the environment." Preservatives can cause problems as well. Possibly the most concerning finding of a study conducted by a company called Inchem found that nitrosamines in many different preservatives of meats could react with various naturally occurring compounds in the human system to form carcinogens or cancerous cells. They found that nitrates used to preserve meat products turn to nitrites when heated. Nitrites react with acids in the stomach and lead to formation of nitrous acid. This acid reacts with naturally occurring proteins to form nitrosamines, which are genotoxic carcinogens. When a compound is considered genotoxic, it damages naturally occurring genetic material and has the potential to create cancerous cells. Dr. Michael Greger, a general practitioner in clinical nutrition from Cornell University, gives a specific anecdote to this phenomenon.
Our story begins on a Norwegian fur farm in 1957. Mink were dropping dead left and right from a malignant new liver disease. The clue came when livestock started dying from liver cancer as well. What tied all the cases together was the use of fish meal in their diets, fish meal that the country had just started preserving with sodium nitrite. Subsequent research discovered nitrite, under certain circumstances, can form nitrosamines, which directly attack DNA, or universally condemned as one of the key carcinogens in cigarette smoke. The occurrence in food was raised as a matter of gravest concern nearly a half-century ago. Now we know that nitrites added to processed meats can form these carcinogenic nitrosamines, now recognized as among the most potent chemical carcinogens. For example, pregnant women who eat hot dogs risk having children with brain tumors, the number 2 pediatric cancer. Then children who eat lots of hot dogs have nearly 10 times the odds of developing childhood leukemia, the number 1 pediatric cancer. Last year in Meat Science, an article about the role of ham in a healthy diet breathed a sigh of relief. Aspects related to health and well-being are increasingly important factors in consumer decisions, although the great palatability of ham largely outweighs such considerations.
If we can be hurt so extremely from these chemicals that food production companies put in our food, shouldn't other options be considered? More troubling than the effects these compounds can have on us is the lack of testing done to determine their true effects. There are steps that we can take, however. To limit your exposure to pesticides, always be sure to thoroughly wash store-bought produce. Write to your local congressman or your local Food and Drug Administration officials. Contact information can be easily found online. Food is supposed to bring life and happiness. We shouldn't allow it to hurt us and make us sick.